Number 14. Who is Mark Zuckerberg? Mark Zuckerberg is a multi-billionaire entrepreneur and, according to numerous publications, one of the most influential people on the planet. He's best known as the co-founder, controlling shareholder, and chief executive officer of Facebook Inc. The company's eponymous social networking website has roughly 2.5 billion active users and is one of the most impactful platforms on the internet. It has played a major role in reshaping the manner in which people communicate with each other online. While the positive and negative aspects of Facebook are still being weighed against each other, Zuckerberg and the company he's been building for the past 16 years have been the subject of numerous controversies. These include, among others, privacy issues, the handling of users' data, Facebook's role in politics, harmful content, or the psychological effects associated with social media addiction. Number 13. Upbringing. Mark Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1983. His mother Karen was a psychiatrist and Edward, his father, a dentist. Zuckerberg and his 3 sisters grew up in Dobbs Ferry, a small village in Westchester County, New York. He was still in middle school when he started to use computers and write software. He built a program called ZuckNet, which facilitated communication between the computers in his home and those in his father's dental office. The software was described as a more primitive version of AOL's Instant Messenger, which was released the following year. Zuckerberg would eventually transfer from a public high school to the prestigious Phillips Exeter Academy. While there, he excelled in subjects such as mathematics, physics, or astronomy, and was also captain of the fencing team. During his high school years, he developed a music player that used machine learning to interact with the user's listening habits. He had already earned a reputation as a prodigious programmer by the time he enrolled at Harvard in 2002. Number 12. The Facebook. During his sophomore year at Harvard, Zuckerberg created a program called FaceMash that allowed students to select which of their peers was best looking from a choice of photos. According to Zuckerberg's blog posts, as he was writing the program, he had initially wanted to compare them to farm animals. The photos had been taken from the university's student directory, also known as a Facebook. They were placed together 2 at a time, and students had to choose who was hotter. The votes would later be used in an overall ranking. It proved so popular that it actually overwhelmed one of the university's network switches, and students were no longer able to go online. Many of them were also unhappy that their photos had been used without their consent. Zuckerberg's program was criticized in the student paper and he faced expulsion. The charges brought to him were ultimately dropped, but he had to publicly apologize. He subsequently started to write code for a new website and launched the Facebook on February 4, 2004, from his Harvard dormitory. The co-founders were his roommates Eduardo Saverin, Andrew McCullum, Dustin Moskovich, and Chris Hughes. Each performed various roles during the website's early days. The website later added the wall feature to its members' online profile, which has since become a key aspect of social networks. The Facebook was initially only available to students at Harvard, but expanded rapidly to include other Ivy League schools and then most universities in the US and Canada. Number 11. Legal battles. Ever since Facebook's inception, Zuckerberg has become one of the wealthiest people on the planet, but also had to handle the criticism associated with the massively successful website. He's been at the center of controversy and several legal battles. One of the first occurred merely 7 days after the Facebook launched. Harvard seniors Cameron Winklevoss, Tyler Winklevoss, and Divya Narendra accused Zuckerberg of purposefully misleading them and stealing their idea. They'd reportedly entered into a verbal contract with Zuckerberg to help them develop a social network called HarvardConnection.com. The students claimed that Zuckerberg was building a competing product under the guise of helping them with their own. A lawsuit was filed, but the matter was eventually settled in 2008. By that time, however, Facebook was already worth billions, and was steadily growing in popularity. The following year, Zuckerberg settled another lawsuit, this time involving Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin. After the legal battle was over, an email emerged in 2012, which showed how Zuckerberg planned to cut Saverin from Facebook and dilute his stake. Number 10. Rise of Facebook. Zuckerberg ultimately dropped out of Harvard to pursue the fast-growing website full-time. In the summer of 2004, the company moved its base of operation to Palo Alto, California. That year, Zuckerberg found an investor and the company acquired its first office. The founders turned down offers from several major corporations which sought to acquire the website. By 2005, Facebook had dropped "the" from its name and had become incorporated. It eventually opened its membership to anyone above the age of 13. In the early days, following the move to Palo Alto, Zuckerberg would reportedly hold hackathons. Participants would have one night to complete a given task, while the company provided food, drinks, and music. Some authors argue that Zuckerberg regarded himself as a hacker, as someone who takes pride in disrupting. He once said that it's okay to break things in order to make them better. In 2010, several publications had ranked Zuckerberg among the most influential people in the information age. Vanity Fair placed him at number 1. Number 9. Zuckerberg's power. There are some who argue for the need of restructuring Facebook into smaller companies, since it's already become a monopoly. Even co-founder Chris Hughes argued that Zuckerberg has too much unchecked power. Despite being a massive company, Facebook's decision-making structure is highly centralized around its leader. Hughes once said that Mark's power is unprecedented and un-American, a sentiment that echoed among a number of US politicians. However, there are others who argue that splitting Facebook would do little to solve its most significant underlying problems. Considering the efforts that Zuckerberg has made towards asserting control, the issues that Facebook faces are often viewed in direct connection with the failures of Zuckerberg as a leader. Consequently, Zuckerberg can use his position to shape Facebook into the version that most agrees with his own views and not necessarily those of its users. The emerging argument is that becoming virtually synonymous with a company of such extraordinary reach is too much power for one man to have. Zuckerberg's critics have pointed out that he might be ill-prepared to handle the responsibility that comes with it. Number 8. Influence. On May 17, 2012, Facebook went public and had the third largest initial public offering in US history at $16 billion. In October of that year, Zuckerberg announced that Facebook had reached 1 billion active users. At the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in 2013, he stated a plan of registering everyone who wasn't connected to the internet. In August, the company founded Internet.org, a collaboration with other technology companies towards bringing the internet to people in underdeveloped or developing countries. As of the making of this video, roughly 1/3 of the global population represents active Facebook users. The social networking website and other Facebook-owned services such as Instagram and WhatsApp have a continuous and undeniable influence on human interaction. From an anthropological perspective, they provide an unprecedented record of human life. Facebook's network effect makes it difficult to rival or replace. It's been estimated that nearly 44% of people in the US get their news from the website. The role of Facebook as a major news source is also true for other countries around the world. Number 7. Cambridge Analytica data scandal. I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here. This was part of Zuckerberg's apology in front of the United States Congress. He testified on April 10, 2018, in light of the Cambridge Analytica data scandal. The political consulting firm had harvested the personal data from millions of Facebook users without their consent. Zuckerberg placed a figure at roughly 87 million people. Harvesting was done through a survey which users would agree to complete. Facebook's design meant that the survey didn't collect only the personal data from people agreeing to complete it, but also that of everyone in the user's social network. Cambridge Analytica then used this information as a political advertising tool. When news of the breach first emerged, Zuckerberg tried to downplay its severity. Then, several outlets reported simultaneously, and the scandal erupted in March of 2018. There were also first-hand reports from an ex-Cambridge Analytica employee who turned whistleblower. In the midst of public outcry, Facebook lost over $100 billion of its market capitalization within days. The scandal sparked global concerns on how Facebook and other platforms were handling the data of their user base. Zuckerberg apologized to Facebook users several times and took responsibility for the incident. In 2019, the Federal Trade Commission fined Facebook a staggering $5 billion, one of the largest penalties ever imposed by the US government. It was almost 20 times greater than the largest data security penalty ever imposed worldwide. The 20-year agreement between Zuckerberg and the FTC ordered the company to restructure its handling of user privacy and to revise its relationship with third-party developers. Number 6. Privacy issues. Although the largest in scope, the Cambridge Analytica incident was by no means the first of its kind that Facebook has had to deal with. Privacy issues have been the steadiest source of controversies regarding the social network. There have been concerns regarding the use of Facebook as a means of data mining or surveillance. It has repeatedly changed its privacy settings and policies. Prior to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, Facebook settled FTC charges in 2011 for failing to uphold the privacy promises to its users. In 2019, it emerged that Facebook had actually enlisted contractors to transcribe its users' audio conversations, which were subsequently analyzed. Bloomberg News broke the story, and Facebook confirmed it, but also stated that the monitoring program had been suspended. Although it's done by other tech giants, the practice has been heavily criticized as an invasion of privacy. Through shadow profiles, Facebook collects data without a user's explicit permission. When the like button appears on third-party websites, it collects data on browsing habits, even for non-Facebook users. In time, a unique profile is constructed, which can be extremely valuable if communicated to various third parties. It's still rather unclear if users can revoke Facebook's access to their shadow profiles. This isn't a recent occurrence, as proven by a change that Facebook tried to make to its terms of service in 2009. It basically gave the company permission to do whatever it wanted with users' content, even after it was removed. The change fell through amidst criticism. Although Zuckerberg has called the accusation outrageous, there's been a suspected connection between Facebook and the PRISM mass surveillance program operated by the NSA. Whistleblower Edward Snowden, who exposed the program, has called Facebook as untrustworthy as the NSA. In an interview, he stated that the company compiles and exploits records of private lives for corporate enrichment. As such, Facebook's loyalty would lie with its advertisers rather than its users. Snowden argues that Facebook and other tech titans may very well be a bigger threat to private life than governmental agencies. In September 2018, Facebook experienced the largest security breach in its history. The accounts of over 50 million users were affected, and the attackers could reportedly see everything in the victim's profile. Facebook had allegedly been previously warned about dangerous flaws in the security protocol, but had failed to correct them. Number 5. Facebook and political manipulation. Facebook's influence also extends to politics, and there have been several instances of the website being used as a tool for political manipulation. It's been used by Russian hackers in their campaign to interfere with political and electoral processes in the United States. The hackers exploited the advertising system to target specific demographics with fake or misleading news. Prior to the 2016 presidential election, Facebook had sold ad space to a company with ties to the Russian intelligence community. Several American politicians have argued that Facebook withheld information that could have shed a light on the Russian propaganda campaign. Zuckerberg subsequently expressed regrets towards underestimating the scope of Russian interference in the presidential election. Facebook has since removed thousands of pages and accounts that were deemed inauthentic. Other incidents of Facebook being used for political manipulation have been more brutal. In March 2018, Sri Lanka was hit with a wave of anti-Muslim riots fueled in part by fake news and hate speech spread on Facebook. In late 2018, Facebook was condemned by the UN for being too slow to react to the website being used to incite genocide in Myanmar. Some of the posts in Burmese, which attacked Muslims and Rohingyas, hadn't been removed for years. A number of deadly riots ensued, and they'd been reportedly incited by fake stories. The company admitted it was slow in reacting to what the UN had dubbed a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. A Draw Muhammad contest was also hosted on Facebook, for which the Pakistani deputy attorney wanted Zuckerberg and other co-founders arrested for blasphemy. Israeli cabinet minister Gilad Erdan held Zuckerberg partially responsible for Palestinian attacks against Israelis. Erdan argued that the CEO wasn't doing enough to ban posts to the website that incited violence, and claimed that some of the victims' blood was on Zuckerberg's hands. Number 4. Avoiding taxes. Facebook has been criticized for using a series of shell companies as a means of avoiding to pay corporate tax. Through these offshore companies, Facebook has avoided billions of dollars in tax. It uses various tax avoidance schemes to route profits to the Cayman Islands and other tax havens. One newspaper concluded that for all the money it makes, Facebook essentially doesn't pay any taxes worldwide. Number 3. Facebook and mental health. Among other issues associated with Facebook, there's also the matter of the positive and negative effects it has on its users' mental health. Repeated usage has been linked to feelings of envy, anger, or depression. There's also a factor of stress associated with various Facebook interactions, whether it's pressure to be entertaining, concerns of being blocked or unfriended, adapting etiquette to various types of friends, fear of missing important social information, and others. Cyberbullying and cyberstalking were also problems connected to the rise of social media platforms, of which Facebook is at the forefront. Studies from German universities have revealed that 1 in 3 users were more dissatisfied with their lives after visiting Facebook. Additionally, escaping the addiction to social networking websites has been compared to the struggle of quitting smoking or giving up alcohol. Today's topic was requested by Ablissive. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Content. Regarding the content that Facebook allows, reactions have been mixed. It's been accused of censorship, as well as of allowing harmful content. The discussion on these subjects is very broad, but in some cases, the negative aspects are rather obvious. For example, users were allowed to circulate videos of people being decapitated. Clips of alleged war crimes from the Libyan National Army were also shared on Facebook, in violation of their company guidelines. The criticism is that Facebook didn't remove the videos fast enough. There have also been a number of crimes, deaths, and violent incidents live streamed through the website's Facebook Live function. Before we move on, official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. It's out of this world. Number 1. Zuckerberg ongoing legacy. The mounting controversies haven't slowed Zuckerberg down, nor have they seemed to have a lasting damaging effect on Facebook's growth and popularity. Even though he's been running the company for 16 years, the CEO is still in the process of managing the negative and positive sides of Facebook. One of his proposed solutions for 2020 and beyond is the creation of an independent oversight board. It will handle appeals regarding the content on Facebook and possibly other platforms. Zuckerberg also stated that the engines of the digital communities need to make trade-offs on traditional social values between safety and free expression, or between law enforcement and privacy. His stated plan for 2030 seemed to focus more on community governance and accountability. Outside of his activity as a company leader, Zuckerberg is well known for his philanthropy and has donated enormous sums to various organizations. He's donated $100 million to the public school system of Newark, New Jersey. Both he and his wife Priscilla have committed that over the course of their lives they'll use the vast majority of their Facebook shares towards advancing human potential and promoting equality. Zuckerberg was one of other billionaires like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates who signed the Giving Pledge, a promise to donate at least half of their wealth to charity. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click on one of the links on your screen for more videos.